The Major League Baseball offseason is officially underway, and I thought it would be fun to say one free agent that I think every single MLB team should sign. Now, a couple of ground rules to start before I get into this video. I'm not doing any players re-signing. I feel like the Mets bringing back Pete Alonso is probably their best free agent, but a re-signing is boring, so I'm not doing that. So don't get mad at me if I don't say your best player is a re-signed player. I'm not doing that. Also, I'm only putting one player per team. Kyle Tucker would be a good fit for about 8 teams in baseball minimum. I'm not putting him on 8 teams, I'm putting him on the team that needs him the most. And with that being said, consider subscribing because less than 5% of my viewers are, and let's get into the video. Starting out with the New York Mets, I have them getting Cody Bellinger. I think a lot of the needs that they have this offseason are bringing back guys like Pete Alonso and other guys that they had. However, it's pretty clear that they need some outfield help, specifically a guy that can play center field in my opinion. They have Juan Soto and Brandon Nimmo on the corners, that's good, but Tyrone Taylor is their starting center fielder, and I don't know, that's just not gonna win games in my opinion. Cody Bellinger would make a not so great defensive outfield become a pretty good one because he's so good. I think that the Mets should try to steal another left-handed outfielder from the New York Yankees in 2026. Moving over to the Atlanta Braves, some of you guys might think that I'm gonna say a starting pitcher because their starting pitching was so bad last year, but it's gonna get healthy and I don't think that they need a starting pitcher. I think they need a shortstop, and because of that, I'm going Bichette. They need an offensive shortstop, like I just said. Nick Allen is a superstar defensive shortstop, but I think they could use a little more offense from that position, and Bichette is one of the best players in baseball at getting hits. I think that this is a really good fit for Atlanta. I like the rest of their offense and their rotation when it's healthy, but they need some help at shortstop, and Bichette has proved that he is one of the best in baseball. Moving over to the Miami Marlins, I see them getting Lucas Giolito as their free agent that they should sign. Now, this isn't necessarily because I think Lucas Giolito is going to make them a playoff team. I think that they're still a year away. I just think that they could really use a leader in that starting rotation to help the younger guys out. I think that there's a good chance that Sandy Alcantara is traded away, and if that does happen, you need another veteran presence in that rotation, and Lucas Giolito is good enough to where he can win you games as a pitcher, but he's also an extremely good leader and can help develop. This is a really good combination for a very young Miami Marlins team. I think it makes a lot of sense. Somewhat similar here with the Washington Nationals, I have them getting Devin Williams. Devin Williams is a really good reliever that might be a little bit cheaper because of a struggling season that he had last year. And if he is cheaper, you're going to be getting a closer that has elite talent and will be more than good enough to close games out of that awful bullpen that they had in 2025. If things really go downhill for the Nationals, maybe you can trade him at the deadline too. I think this would have to be a 2 or 3 year deal because I don't think that the Nationals will be contending in 2026 necessarily, but for the future, Devin Williams is a great pickup for this team. Finishing out the NL East, I have the Philadelphia Phillies, and I have them getting Trent Grisham. Yeah, so Trent Grisham accepted the qualifying offer for the New York Yankees, and that really sucks for this video in my opinion, because I thought that Grisham to the Phillies was an absolute perfect fit. But this team sneakily needs a lot of help. They kind of need 3 or 4 bats and at least 1 starting pitcher. They can trade Aaron Nola, cut Taijuan Walker, and trade Nick Castellanos to free up a little bit of money, but I just can't see them giving it to Kyle Tucker because they have so many needs. It would be perfect for them to get him if they didn't have so many holes, but I just can't see it because they do have a lot of holes. I'm going to give them Chris Bassett because they really need a back-end starting pitcher anyway, so let's give them this back-end starter with big potential and then have them trade for some bats instead of signing them on the market because I like the trade market a little bit more for them. So for the Pittsburgh Pirates, I had predicted Josh Naylor, and I was so close to getting that right as they offered him close to $80 million. Good for you, Pittsburgh. I'm pretty proud of you, actually. It just felt like such a good fit, in my opinion, for him going to the Pittsburgh Pirates, but it didn't happen, so it's time to move on. I just can't give them Kyle Schwarber, even though the rumors are there. It just doesn't make sense to me that Schwarber would sign there, unfortunately. I'll give them the second best DH option though, and that's going to be Marcell Ozuna for me. I think that this would be a really nice get for them. This would be some solid lineup protection for Bryan Reynolds and O'Neal Cruz, and I think it just makes a lot of sense. Go out and get Marcell Ozuna. Well, keep trying to get Kyle Schwarber as well, but if it doesn't happen, go get Marcell. For the Cincinnati Reds, I have them getting a different first baseman, and I'm going to go with Ryan O'Hearn for them. Spencer Steer is their listed first baseman, and Sal Stewart is their listed DH. You can definitely do something with that to make that better. Also, Spencer Steer can play the corner outfield, which they have Noelvi Marte listed as the right fielder, which he can play the infield if he has to. I just think that Ryan O'Hearn gives them a bunch of flexibility, and it gives them a left-handed stick, which they really need because they only have Friedel and Gavin Lux as lefties for 2026. O'Hearn is amazing defensively, and he provides a lot of power from the first base position, and I just think that this is a really good fit for them. I think that this is a player that they should sign. For the Chicago Cubs, I have them getting one of my favorite players in this class, Tetsuya Amai. I really hope that that's how you pronounce his name. There's no name pronunciation guides for that yet. I really hope that that's right. Either way, Amai has been one of the most dominant pitchers in the MPB over the last 4 seasons, with last year being the best of the 4. He had a 1.2 ERA in 163 innings with really good strikeout stuff. He doesn't give up home runs, he doesn't walk too many guys, and he strikes everybody out. With the Cubs letting Shota Imanaga go, their rotation is pretty weak, with Matthew Boyd and Cade Horton being the 1 and 2, but then after that it goes to Jamison Tyone, Colin Ray, and Javier Assad. I really feel like they could use a top-end pitcher at the top of their rotation, and I feel like Amai is a perfect fit for them. For the St. Louis Cardinals, another player I wanted a qualifying offer player to go, and that was Shota Imanaga. I thought that he was a low-end starting pitcher 1, which makes me think that the Cardinals would have been in on him. I don't think that they want to give a guy $30 million per year on a 4 or 5 year deal, so I thought that Shota Imanaga made a lot of sense. So instead, let's go after Tyler Mahle instead. I feel like he's pretty similar to Shota from the right side. He's another really solid pitcher with a high floor and a pretty high ceiling to go along with the Cardinals' solid offense in my opinion. I think Tyler Mahle puts them in contention to be in playoff contention, and if it doesn't work, he's probably only going to get a 1 or 2 year deal, and you can trade him at the trade deadline if you want to go that route instead. Finishing out the NL Central with the 1 seed in the National League from 2025, we have the Milwaukee Brewers, and I'm going to give them Merrill Kelly. Unfortunately, I would love to give them a superstar pitcher, but the Brewers aren't going to sign a superstar pitcher. They might be letting Freddie Peralta go, they're probably letting Brandon Woodruff go, and they've already gotten rid of Corbin Burns. They're obviously not going to sign a guy that is a 9-figure contract. So let's go with Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly is a talented pitcher, but he's going to be cheap. I think that that's perfect for the Brewers. He gets a lot of ground balls, and this is a really good infield defense, so I think it's a good fit. I don't know, I would love to say something like Framber Valdez, but they're just not gonna sign him, and I have to be somewhat realistic. Merrill Kelly, I guess. Next up, the Colorado Rockies. I have you, my viewer watching this video right now. The Rockies are so bad that you watching could go and be a pitcher for the Rockies and improve their starting rotation. So you should be checking your email because the Rockies are about to send you an offer pretty soon and it might be pretty substantial. But if you have any aspirations to being an MLB player, I wouldn't sign that because it's gonna ruin your career. The San Diego Padres are a team that I kind of struggled who I should give to. I was wondering if I should give them Pete Alonso, but I honestly thought that a better fit might be Kazuma Okamoto, the Japanese first baseman that just got posted from MPB. Well, sorry, he's not posted yet, but he will be posted at some point this year. The Padres need a first baseman. Right now it's listed as Gavin Sheets, and their DH is a guy that they probably don't want to start, so they need a first baseman. Okamoto is extremely talented. He's probably the most underrated player in this free agency class, in my opinion. He hit .322 last year in Japan with a .992 OPS. He hit 15 home runs along with 23 doubles and walked as much as he struck out. But the thing that's really good about Okamoto is he is incredible against high velocity fastballs, which is what you face in MLB. I think that Okamoto would be a perfect fit for the Padres, and Japanese players tend to like playing on the West Coast because it's closer to Japan. I think that this is a match made in heaven, and I think that the Padres should go out and sign this contract. Moving over to the defending two-time champions, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers. And who better to make them better than Kyle Tucker? He's the best player on the market. The Dodgers need a right fielder. This is a no-brainer. I don't want to even spend too much time on this. Kyle Tucker is going to end up being a Dodger most likely. Basically, the industry consensus is that he is a Dodger at this point. It's like 60% betting odds he's gonna go to the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are going to be even better because they changed Michael Conforto into Kyle Tucker. I don't want to spend any more time on this. Dodger fans, you guys are incredibly lucky. Next up, the San Francisco Giants, and I have Ranger Suarez. He's a ground ball pitcher, and they have a really good infield defense. I know that Willy Adames wasn't the greatest defender last year, but I still think he is a good defender, and Matt Chapman, of course, is a platinum glover over at third base. With a rotation of Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, a couple of the rookies, and then Ranger Suarez as well, I think that the Giants are in a really good position to make a playoff run, and Ranger Suarez would be a big part of it. And finishing out the National League, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I'm giving them Pete Alonso. They're a close team. They were willing to spend money last year, and I'd hope that they'd be willing to spend money again this year. I would like to see them make a big splash for a big power bat like Pete Alonso. Eugenio Suarez was incredible with them, and it seems like these high strikeout, high power guys just work out pretty well with the Diamondbacks. I would like to see Pete Alonso in Arizona, and I would like to see if that would be enough to make the team a playoff contender in 2026. Starting out the American League with the Boston Red Sox, I have them getting Kyle Schwarber. Again, from these GM meetings, it seems like Kyle Schwarber and the Red Sox are a very good fit if it's not for Kyle Schwarber re-signing with the Phillies. It kind of seems like it's Phillies or Red Sox for Schwarber right now. He worked out well with the Red Sox in 2021. He obviously has huge power and hits a ton of home runs, and the Red Sox desperately need that, with GM Craig Breslow even saying that middle of the order power is the biggest need for the Red Sox this offseason, and they simply love this guy in Boston. They also need a DH. This is a bit of a no-brainer for me, probably the easiest fit on the entire list. Kyle Schwarber would be a perfect addition for the Boston Red Sox. For the New York Yankees, I have a little bit of a weird one, and I'm going to go with Jorge Polanco. Immediately, the fit doesn't seem perfect, but I would rather them trade for an outfielder or re-sign their two outfielders that they had last year than sign any of the free agency options. If they are going to add to their outfield in free agency, it should be Cody Bellinger or Trent Grisham or both. So if they're going to do it without re-signing guys, I think that signing Jorge Polanco for second base and then moving Jazz Chisholm Jr. to center field, where he was really good with Miami a few years ago, would make a ton of sense. Personally, this is what I would do if I was the Yankees, but let me know if you disagree and you'd rather see them go after a different free agent outfielder. And again, not Kyle Tucker because he's already a Dodger. Next up, the Baltimore Orioles. Please, Orioles, please go out and sign a top-end starting pitcher option. You guys had Corbin Burns and you let him go. You guys need a starting pitcher. Please get Michael King or someone like that, but I'm giving you guys Michael King. He's going to be a little bit cheaper than the top end arms in my opinion, but he is a top of the rotation starter. I think he could develop into a true ace if he stays healthy. He has some of the best strikeout stuff in baseball, and I think he is a perfect fit for this Orioles team. Please, please, please sign a Michael King or somebody of that caliber. The Tampa Bay Rays are a bit of a weird team, and they're up next. The Rays have some holes, but they're not going to spend big. I think that their biggest hole is catcher, however. So let's just give them the best catcher on the market in JT Realmuto. They're a very young team and they could use a veteran presence as well, and JT Realmuto is one of the biggest veteran presence in the entire league, in my opinion. He'd really help out with an extremely young pitching staff with Rasmussen, Pepio, McClanahan, Baz. He'd really help out with that pitching staff, and he'd really help some of the young hitters figure out how to go about their way in MLB. Realmuto is the best catcher on the market. I would like to see them upgrade at the catching position. This is a bit of a no-brainer. Give JT Realmuto to the Tampa Bay Rays. And finishing out the AL East, we have the American League World Series representatives. And this is the Toronto Blue Jays, of course. I'm giving them Robert Suarez. In my opinion, he's by far the best closer on the market, and Jeff Hoffman just cannot be the closer going forward. Go get one of the best guys on the market, go get the best closer on the market, and bring back your guys like Bichette. I feel like this is the best way to go about this offseason if you're the Blue Jays. Maybe you can make another splash as well, but start it out by going out and getting Robert Suarez. You need a closer. AL Central time, so we're not going to be giving any super big superstars in this division because these teams don't spend money, but we're starting with the Cleveland Guardians and we're giving them Pete Fairbanks. I think that the Guardians need a closer because Emmanuel Clase is the dumbest human being in the history of human beings, and he got himself arrested for gambling on baseball. So now he's not the closer of the Guardians. They need to replace him. I think Pete Fairbanks is another really good closer, a little cheaper than Robert Suarez, so I think that this is the fit that they would want. Cade Smith was not it as a closer last year. He just wasn't that good. Getting him back to setup man would really help out the team. Pete Fairbanks is good, and I think he'd be in the Guardians' price range like I said. I think that this is a good fit. Bring Pete Fairbanks to Cleveland. Next up, the Kansas City Royals. They need an outfielder. I'm giving them Harrison Bader. I think that their best option would probably be to go through trade. Someone like the Boston Red Sox, who just has a lot of outfielders, Jarren Duran, for example, or Willie Abreu. I feel like that might be Kansas City's best bet. But either way, I think that they still need two outfielders, and Harrison Bader fits the bill for them. They need an outfielder that can cover serious ground because Kansas City has a massive outfield, and I think that Bader is a very good fit for them. I would do this if I was the Royals, but let's see what they're gonna do. Next up, the Chicago White Sox. A bit of a surprising second half for them. Their offense was actually really solid. Their bullpen I don't love, and their rotation I'm a little bit confused about. They're definitely at least one more year away from being a real contender, so I think that this should really just be a developmental year for them. I would go out and get a somewhat back-end reliever like a Tyler Rogers. That's going to be my pick for them. And then I would just see what you can get for him at the trade deadline. I think that that's just good business when you sign veterans on a one-year deal when you're a rebuilding team, and then flip them at the deadline for whatever you can get, and then just have a little bit more depth going forward. I think for the White Sox, that's their best case scenario. They're one more year away from really being a potential contender. Just let your rookies develop for one more year, and then go out and see what you can do in 2027. Next up, the Minnesota Twins, and I have them getting Ha-Seong Kim. I wanted Gleyber Torres, but it's another qualifying offer, sadly for me. I got kind of rocked. I recorded this script like a day before the qualifying offer deadline, and then all of these players signed qualifying offers, but it's whatever. Ha-Seong Kim makes a lot of sense to me because I think the Twins are going to be really bad again. I want the Twins to sign veterans that are lower value right now than they could be at the trade deadline, so that they can trade him at the trade deadline. Ha-Seong Kim had a poor season in 2025, but he did show signs of life with the Braves at the end of the season. So I hope he can improve his value throughout the 2026 season, and then they trade him at the trade deadline because he's going to be on a short-term deal. That would be my ideal situation for the Twins and Ha-Seong Kim. And I said that there were going to be no big contracts handed out in the Central, but I lied because the Detroit Tigers are signing Alex Bregman. Much like I said with Kyle Schwarber, the Alex Bregman sweepstakes feels like it's the Red Sox versus the Tigers. It doesn't really feel like there's another team involved, and because I can't give Alex Bregman back to the Red Sox, I have to give him to the Tigers. They need a third baseman badly. Zach McKinstry was an all-star last year, but he's not that good. But I don't think that he's that great. And Alex Bregman is a very, very good player. They're a very young team as well. They could really use a leader like Alex Bregman in that clubhouse, and I think it's just a great fit for them, of course, like it was last year. Personally, as a Red Sox fan, I hope he returns to Boston, but being objective, I think that the Tigers landing Alex Bregman would be their best case scenario this offseason. Final division, so the final 5 teams are here. We're starting out with the Houston Astros, and I'm giving them Dylan Cease. They need another top-end pitcher. I think that this is the best fit for the team if Framber Valdez doesn't go back. I still think that Framber Valdez might be their best fit, but again, I can't pick that, so I'm picking Dylan Cease. He's a fly ball pitcher, which does scare me a little bit with the Crawford boxes and the short porch in right field, but apart from that, I really like this fit because he also strikes a lot of guys out. So Dylan Cease to the Astros. The Texas Rangers had a really good pitching staff last year and a really bad offensive team, so you would think that I would go with a bat, right? But I'm not going to. I'm going to give them Framber Valdez. I still believe in this Rangers offense. They have the pieces to be a really, really good offense, and I think that they should just go and bolster their pitching staff even more. Having Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi, and Framber Valdez as your 1, 2, 3 in a rotation, and then Jack Leiter and maybe Kumar Rocker behind him as the 5, that is a disgusting rotation. I think that this gives them the best rotation in baseball by a lot, other than the Dodgers, but they don't count because they're too good, and I trust their infield defense with Marcus Semien and Josh Young to be good enough to really handle Framber Valdez, the ground ball merchant. I think that this would be a great fit for them. Sneaky fit, but a really good one. For the Sacramento Athletics, I have them getting Zach Gallen. They need more pitching. Zach Gallen had a pretty rough season in 2025, so I think that you could get him at a little bit of a discount for what he should be. Gallen, in my opinion, is a very good pitcher, and I think that this personally is a pretty good fit for the Athletics. Just go out and get one of the mid to high end tier starting pitchers. You're gonna need a guy like that. I hope that they start spending because their offense is so good. Next up, I have the Los Angeles Angels, and I really wanted Brandon Woodruff to the Angels. It made so much sense to me, but another qualifying offer was accepted, and that was Woodruff. And also the Grayson Rodriguez trade for Taylor Ward kind of makes this rotation pretty okay for the Angels, honestly. So I'm going to go with a reliever instead because their bullpen is just really bad. And actually, I'm gonna cheat because it's my video and I can do whatever I want. So I'm gonna give them 2 right-handed relievers instead in Chris Martin and Emilio Pagan. These are 2 good relievers, and unfortunately the elite relievers have already been placed on new teams. So I'm doing 2 very good ones to equal 1 elite one. Ryan Helsley is also available, but I don't really want him closing for this Angels team, to be honest. I'd rather them get 2 good guys instead of 1, so again, I'm cheating with them because they need the extra help because they are a dumb franchise. And finally, there's one huge name free agent that I haven't said yet, and I don't know if you guys are thinking the same thing, but for the Seattle Mariners, I'm going Munetaka Murakami. This monster, this absolute monster coming over from Japan might be the most polarizing free agent possible. In my opinion, his range of talent could be Bobby Dahlbeck to Aaron Judge. If you look at Munetaka's best seasons, he's better than Aaron Judge in NPB. He hit 56 home runs in 141 games in 2022 with an OPS that was almost 1.2. That is higher than Aaron Judge in 2025, but his strikeout rates would be some of the worst in baseball, as well as just overall contact rates. This guy is a gamble of all gambles. This is like putting $20,000 on red in roulette and just praying that it doesn't hit black. This guy might be one of the best hitters in baseball. I could honestly see him being a Shohei Ohtani type level talent with the bat, but he could also be a major bust. I think Seattle is in a position where it would be a great time for them to take this risk. I don't know exactly what his projected numbers are. I've been struggling to find them, but I've been seeing anywhere from like $22 to $26 million. If you can get him for $22 million, I think that is an absolute steal. They've had success with Japanese players in the past, obviously with Ichiro Suzuki. I would go out and get Munetaka Murakami. He might be the next great Japanese player, and it would be awesome if he was on Seattle, in my opinion. Go out and get him. Anyway, that's all 30 teams. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.